welcome back to Blaze TV. Ed, Kimberley and Stu Coles, your host as always. And our guests for this edition are forwards Tristan Keck and Nick Jermain. Boys, it's great to have you with us. Thanks for putting some time aside to chat to us today.
Thanks for having us.
Before we really get started, though, I feel like a slight apology is due to Nick. So, Nick, we haven't met before properly, but we spoke really, really briefly on Sunday at the end of the first period in the Nottingham game. And I want to apologize just because we didn't get the message through who they were bringing off the ice. They put the camera in front of you. And as we've never met you, I didn't recognize you, buddy. So apologies if that was kind of awkward, man.
No worries. I didn't notice, to be honest. It was so loud in those headphones. I was just like, let's just get through this.
Hopefully it wasn't too bad for you. But yeah, apologies. And it's nice to meet you finally.
Yeah, it's all good.
And Tristan, you too, man. So let's just kick right off and cast our minds a few years back, because you played Junior A in Winkler. Did pretty well there. That must have been a great experience for you. And then ended up going to play NCAA hockey. Why NCAA and not maybe down one of the CHL routes?
Yeah, I don't know. I never really had the opportunity, I guess, to go WHL. I went to a couple camps and then nothing really came out of that. And then as soon as I got my mind on Junior A and Winkler, NCAA right away was always the goal. And so I was very grateful to be put in a position to succeed there, and a really good program. And yeah, I'm just glad it all worked out, and very grateful that I was able to play at a great program like Omaha.
Nice. And Nick, similarly for you, you also ended up going and playing NCAA hockey, but you went from high school in Connecticut to the BCHL. You couldn't have gone any further away from Connecticut. Why the switch over there for a year?
Yeah, just a lot of players from my area were going out there and having tons of success, and I was lucky enough to find a team, and I just really love the experience out there, and I'd recommend it to anyone. It was so fun.
Nice. Absolutely. I think we've spoken to quite a few guys who come through the BCHL route. It's certainly growing in reputation as one of the junior leagues. I think generally people talk about like the Ontario League or the Dub, but the BCHL is coming through, right?
Yeah, it's definitely getting better. There's obviously some great alumni who've come out of it, and like it's just a good league for developing young players. Personally, wasn't physically ready for college yet, or even the USHL, so it was a good fit for me to kind of make that next step.
Cool. Tristan, you talked just quickly there about the good program that you went to at Nebraska Omaha. Danny was talking about that when they announced your signing. I was going to say a couple of months ago, because that's an old habit from when we have a real season a couple of weeks ago. And he was saying that it's one of the best divisions. Talk to us about that group that they play in and what it was like playing against the elite.
Yeah, definitely. It was for sure one of the best college conferences. You'd play teams like North Dakota. That was always the big one. It was nice that they were always our main rival. I guess school to school, there's a little bit of a rivalry going there. And so we'd always play them, I think, 4 times a year. And so that's always fun, going to a big school like that with like 12,000 fans going crazy. But yeah, I mean, the talent in there, you're playing against like first round NHL draft picks and guys that right now are in the NHL that I've played against. And so it's kind of surreal, to be honest, to be seeing them on TV and stuff. So yeah, it was just a great experience.
Yeah, and Nick, Quinnipiac is a program that's really been developing over kind of the last decade. I hear they've been putting new facilities in, gym, the rinks have been overhauled as well. What was life like there for you at the Bobcats?
Yeah, I mean, it was just an overall great experience. The school, the hockey, the team, the culture, it was awesome. And, definitely one of the newer programs kind of burst on the scene the last decade, like you said, when they got their new rink. So that was one of the things like we took pride in, being players there, kind of helping grow it even more and kind of gain more national recognition.
Tristan, your sophomore year with the Mavericks, you kind of exploded in scoring. I think you had 10 goals, 12 assists. Correct me if I'm wrong there. That's a great breakout year for your second year, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We went through a little bit of a coaching change, and I was just very grateful for the opportunity that coach gave me. He put a lot of faith in me, and he put me on power play, penalty kill that year. And so it's definitely had to take advantage of that. And that, as well, I had some great line mates that made some great plays. And so I definitely can't take all the credit for that.
And it sounded like you were going to have a senior year similar, but correct me if I'm wrong, but you broke your foot early on, and that kind of curtailed things a little bit.
Yeah, it was about 7 games in. During pregame warm up, I broke my foot, so that definitely sucks for your senior year. But I was just glad that I was able to get back pretty quickly and finish the year off.
During warm up too.
Yeah, it was tough. That's the worst. I wouldn't say warm up. It was more. It's a funny story. Not many people know about it. So we were warming up before pregame skate, and we were playing a little bit of basketball. I forget what it's called. Just a little game. And I went up for a layup, and I came down and landed on somebody's foot. And I thought I just twisted my ankle. And so we were going through the warm up and whatnot. And my foot started to get a little bit bigger and bigger. And I was just thinking I could just walk it off. Like I thought it was just a sprained ankle or something. Not a sprained ankle, but like I rolled my ankle. And sure enough, go to see the team doc and try getting my skate on, but couldn't do it. And then when we got back to Omaha, then went to the doctor, and sure enough, it was broken. So I'm glad it wasn't a terrible break, but still sucked at the time.
Yeah, your senior year is the one where you get the most ice time traditionally, right, too? So you want to make the most of it. I was hoping it'd be like the hero play, overtime, 3-on-3. You block a shot or something like that. That sucks.
Yeah, I wish it was like that too. But...
and Nick, you got the honor of being made captain in your senior year, which also coincided with a collegiate career year. How was that for you, man? That must have been a great experience.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. Obviously my job was pretty easy. We had a great group of guys who kind of bought into, the culture that had been there the whole time. But it was a great experience for me personally, having to do everything the right way and lead by example. So that was definitely something that I enjoyed and experience that I'll take with me for a while.
And I guess having to kind of be disciplined and be a mentor to some of the first years, I guess, prepared you in a way for this scenario that you're in now, because it's a little strange to your usual first year pro, isn't it? You don't have the luxury of exploring, this. You don't even have the luxury of playing in the city who you're playing for, which must be really strange. And I guess it's all about discipline.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy to be playing right now. It's been definitely a weird year. So, being holed up in a hotel room and just going from here to the rink, it's, obviously not how I imagined my first year in experienced pro would be, but it's better than nothing. And, I'm just trying to take all the positives from it and use it to learn as much as I can.
I briefly mentioned with Tristan about the level of the division that Omaha, Nebraska play in, but Quinnipiac are in a pretty tough bracket too, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean the ECAC is definitely a really good division. It's kind of got its own style of play, being super detailed and defensive. So there wasn't a lot of chances for either team, and it was just a great experience. So going up against Ivy League schools, it was always a good atmosphere, going to those great campuses and stuff like that. So definitely a good league. It's produced a lot of tournament bound teams. So it was nice to play in for sure.
Before I hand it over to Stu, it's really interesting for us because there's a bit of a new wave coming into the Elite League in terms of recruitment, and that is guys coming straight out the NCAA. So Chris Polkamp was a first year pro with us last year, came out Bowling Green, I think, if I remember right. And it's something that I think, people like Stu and I who commentate on hockey every week are kind of getting used to, because we didn't see a lot of guys coming straight from the NCAA. It was kind of guys maybe that had played there, had 3-4 years pro, hitting 30, hitting the vet system, and then coming here. So no, it's great to see you guys here. And I'll hand over to Stu to talk about your time here so far.
Yeah, it was a quirk of the old work permit system
that
NCAA didn't qualify as being good enough. I mean, I don't exactly know where those rules started from, but we were all kind of scratching our head going, there's a lot of people coming out of college who could do a good job in the Elite League, and it just didn't didn't seem to change for a while, but now we are here. Nick, you mentioned it was a weird year so far. You actually started off, you'd signed in Greenville, and got a sort of contract there, but then you never actually, you didn't make a debut for them. How frustrating was that to have signed, but then to not actually make that next step?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was tough, but I try to take all the positives from it. I got 2 weeks there with a bunch of guys who've played, AHL, NHL games and learned a lot from that experience. To be honest, I wasn't really physically fully ready for it. And after, I realized how to get stronger, I put on 20 pounds of, weight to try to get stronger and improve my game, which I think helped a lot. So after that, I was waiting a few months for my next opportunity, but I knew whenever that come, if it's either in Europe or North America, that'd be ready. And I didn't let it discourage me or anything. I just kind of used it for motivation. And I think overall, like, any experience is good. So I, definitely didn't like getting let go, but there was a lot of good players. Not a lot of teams in the coast were playing. It was, I think, 12 out of 32 or something. So jobs weren't really available. And but that's pro hockey. It's ruthless. It's tough, but you got to battle through it and continue working.
Yeah, 12 out of 32 teams playing, a whole host of leagues in Europe not playing. So a lot of the North Americans who might have had jobs in Europe going back over to the US. Yeah. Certainly there are some people who had signed for the Blaze for the original 2021 series who ended up playing in the ECHL. So yeah, I can totally get that the jobs became tough. But you mentioned about how you kept yourself in shape, you put on a bit of weight and kind of kept going. Was it difficult to kind of do all that in the context of a pandemic, like finding ice to skate on, getting in the gym, just all those things that you probably would normally take for granted?
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a challenge mentally and physically, and finding ice, finding gym, and kind of staying focused because I wasn't with the team or had anyone. I was on my own to kind of stay disciplined. And I drew back on a lot of experiences that I had in my time in college, and got a new diet, new workout, and all of that, which helped a ton. So I'm not saying it was easy at all, but I definitely I'd say got better in those like 3 months or 4 months where I wasn't playing, and try to keep making progress.
And Tristan, the opportunity for you, this is your first time as a pro as well. How did the opportunity to come over and play for Coventry in this series come about?
Yeah, I mean, it was all happened very quickly for sure. I mean, when we saw that the series was happening right away, as my agent reached out to Danny, and it was within a couple of days that everything got done. And I mean, I was kind of expecting not to play at all this year, which was definitely a tough pill to swallow, and was just trying to stay in shape and get on the ice as much as I could. But when this opportunity came, I mean, I was blown away, and I was just so excited to get over here and get going, because a year without hockey is definitely a long time and started to get to me a little bit. But yeah, I'm just very grateful for this opportunity, and yeah, it's just been so awesome so far.
I mean, and it's not just, I mean, for maybe somebody who is a veteran of 10 or 11 years or something, it's not just a year without hockey. For you guys, this is a critical part of your sort of pro career. To miss that first year entirely, that would have been, like you say, that would have been really tough, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know there's still a lot of guys that were in our situation. There's a lot of guys right now that aren't playing, and I mean, you kind of feel for them because you were in that situation, and now thankfully we're able to get out of it. And so definitely sucks for a lot of guys right now. But yeah, like I said, Nick as well, we're so grateful for this opportunity and just so excited to be playing hockey again.
And this is obviously not a full season. It's a short series in the UK. And Nick, this isn't your first time over in the UK. If I'm right, you actually had a little bit of experience of a short series in Belfast a few years back. And Quinnipiac played in the Friendship 4.
Yeah, that was an awesome time. That was my freshman year. And I remember just coming over, being super excited. We spent a few days in Dublin and then up in Belfast. And I remember being blown away by the facilities, how great the fans were. They were super into hockey, which surprised me, to be honest. And just the whole event was so awesome that, I kind of had a little taste of it, I could say, coming over this time. But, I really, really enjoyed that time. It was a lot of fun for me and the team. And obviously, a little bit of taste of hockey in the UK. It was great.
At the time of recording, the first two games of the weekend have been and gone. What are your thoughts of like the standard of hockey so far? What, in comparison to perhaps what you expected?
I think it's been great. It's been definitely a learning experience. Like, I hadn't played a hockey game in over a year. My last time was in last March, for right before the season got canceled in college. So took, a few games to kind of get my feet under me and get my hockey brain rewired a little bit. But yeah, from what I've experienced in the game and what I've watched, obviously the level's super high. There's some really skilled guys, and regardless of the level, pro hockey isn't easy. Everyone's talented and can play. So it's definitely been good. I like a lot that there's more scoring chances than my time in the ECAC, like I mentioned earlier, was defensive. So, trading a bunch of chances, getting more shots on net and opportunities, I definitely am enjoying so far.
When we talk about opportunities and getting on net, Tristan, your first goal came over the weekend. How did that feel? Tell us about the goal and what you can remember of it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Nick skating off into the corner thinking he had a penalty shot. We were all laughing about that. But no, him and Hammond made a great play. I think he sprung Nick for a breakaway. And I mean, he would have had a penalty shot and probably scored his first goal there. But I mean, I was lucky enough to trail the play and capitalize on the pocheck there. But yeah, it was definitely a great feeling. Something you definitely dream about, when you're young, playing hockey, growing, and I mean, just dreaming about scoring your first pro goal. And so it's definitely a moment I'll cherish for sure.
I mean, and if we talk about opportunities, the puck out in front of the netminder with nobody else around you, it couldn't have presented itself much better for you.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm very grateful for that.
And I guess, with it being the first pro goal, I don't know what the sort of like the restrictions are. Did you get to keep the puck, or was it sort of squirreled away because nobody's allowed to touch it forevermore?
Yeah, I don't know where it went. I mean, sure.
I was wondering that too, actually.
Just spray it with some bleach or something. It'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. No, if that puck's hanging around, I definitely would like it for sure.
It was going to bring me on to it. So, Nick, was that your first pro point as an assist as well? Or
it was.
So would you have to fight over the puck
No, obviously it would go to him. I didn't even know he scored it. Like, I got hauled down, as you can see on the play, and like went into the boards hard. And I looked up at the ref, and he pointed. I thought that he was pointing to a penalty shot, and obviously there's no fans, so it was like dead quiet in the rink, and I was kind of disoriented from the whole play. And then like get back to the bench, like, what are you doing? Why aren't you celebrating? So it's pretty funny. I've been getting some heat from the boys, but yeah, it's good fun. Glad we scored anyway.
It was dead quiet in the rink, except in our little box where me and Ed were shouting our heads off.
To be fair, I missed it. Like I saw Nick go down into the corner, like looked across to see if it was going to be a penalty shot, and then Tristan's got his arms in the air, and then the replay gets thrown up really quickly. I'm like, oh great, we scored. So a terrible call on your highlight reel there for your first pro goal, buddy. I'm sure. So I'm sorry about that as well. I've had to apologize to both of you for something today. We got to a great start.
That brings me on to my last question, which is probably for the both of you actually. You mentioned him just a moment ago, but you've ended up on a line together paired with Mike Hammond down the center. I mean, what's it like to have someone who's obviously got a bit of experience, been played in the elite league for a number of seasons, then gone off into Europe, GB's top scorer in world championships? It must be you know, for someone to learn from, that must be a great experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's an incredibly skilled player. Definitely, when he has the puck, he definitely makes things happen for sure. And so, yeah, if you're open, he's going to find you. And so, it's definitely a lot of fun playing with him and being able to I guess learn a little bit of the European hockey style, and just seeing the skill is a lot of fun. So it's been good.
So we asked about Mike Hammond as well, Tristan and Nick, but another guy I guess to soak a little bit up from is on the other line in Yanni Larkinen, because you know, he's by sorry Yanni, but by a good considerable distance, he's the oldest guy on the roster, and he has played all over Europe, all the elite leagues you can think of. He's been in, and he has got some tremendous skill. What's it like watching a player like him, Nick, go to work every day?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, regardless of what league it is, pro hockey is pro hockey, and he's been doing it for a long time. So that's obviously something not only on the ice, but just around the rink, the hotel, everything that you can learn on. There's tons of experience in this locker room, not just Yanni, but him specifically. Like, you can just tell he's been around the game. He thinks it so clearly, slows the game down, and always makes the right pass. Yeah, he's a great watch, and obviously I like playing with Tristan and Hammy, but you know, he'd be a great line mate, I'm sure, for those guys with him. Always seems to make the right play and set them up for nice chances.
Yeah, Tristan, but just before we hit record on this, I was watching the start of the Nottingham-Manchester game. I got 2 periods in, and they were saying that Nottingham hadn't scored a power play goal in the first couple of games they'd played, whereas the Blaze were at 33%. Special teams is always huge. We always talk about this. And to get up to a flying start and get a couple of goals on the man advantage is really important, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, special teams in most games either wins or lose you that game. And so it's been huge. And yeah, for our penalty kill, we've been pretty good. And power play, I mean, 33% is operating at a pretty good rate. And so that's one thing we've definitely been practicing in practice, and it's good that it's showing in games.
I got to ask one final question to both of you guys before I go, and before we wrap things up here. You guys know the history of Ross Venus?
I know that he's been with the team for like 11 years or something like that, which is
nice. Bingo. Do you know how old he is?
I think he's 26, 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So he's a year older than you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool story. I remember looking up his resume, and it was pretty cool to see that he's been with Coventry for so long. Obviously, just by that alone, definitely deserves to be wearing the A, but he's a great teammate, great leader. So just beyond his resume, definitely deserves to be wearing that.
No, I have to ask, because if I was in your shoes, I think it'd blow my mind that older than me that has 11 years of pro experience, a testimonial game under his belt, because that must be kind of nuts, Tristan, if you're just hearing about this now.
Yeah, definitely. That is crazy. Like Nick said, he's a great leader, great person, and a great hockey player. I mean, if he's been playing hockey or pro hockey for 11 years already, and he's still so young, that just speaks to the player that he is.
Tristan, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you get back to Verdansk. Guys from Ed and Stu, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for all the awesome feedback, by the way, from the broadcast on Sunday. We really did appreciate everybody who got in touch. The players are shaking the rust off, so are we, but we were glad that we could bring a little bit of the rink back into your houses. And well, who knows who we'll have as our special guests on next. But if you want to shoot us a suggestion, drop us a tweet at Ed Kimberley, at Stu the Cyclist, I think you are now. You changed yours, or at Coventry Blaze, it'll get through to us. But until then, stay safe and bye for now.